Survivors, seekers, and thrivers, welcome to Transcending Trauma, a spiritual odyssey. I'm Shari Lee Roberts, living proof that transformation is real. Get ready for powerful insights, inspiring stories, and a little laughter along the way.
Oh, well, sinners, I have an incredible and fascinating guest today. Welcome, Susannah Rose Stokes. After serving to combat terrorists in Afghanistan as a Marine Corps officer. Susannah had spiritual awakening that changed her life forever. Since then, she dedicated her life as an energy priestess and embodied consciousness guide. She has served many people, guiding them in their own spiritual awakening process. She is also a co-founder of House of Metamorphosis. Additionally, she authored. Okay, I'm gone.
Oh yes, this is the hard word. It's entheo generated. That's the title of her research paper. Entheo generated. Yeah, I got you.
Her research was and existing research of the use of psychedelics and their capacity to create individual and collective change. Now, I cannot leave this not part of you look way too young to have a they you have Susannah is the graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy and speaks not only English but Mandarin, Chinese, and Spanish. Lord, girl, I feel Dad, first off, welcome, and thank you for your service to our fine, amazing country. And I can say that because of people like you. Thank you and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Sherry. And yes, I do tend to look too young for my age.
Yeah. Nothing wrong
Oh,
with
no.
that, right?
Right.
Never bad if
Yeah.
you're over 21, and then you want to look young.
That's right. That's right. And I think I'm aging backward a little bit right now. I think I've gotten younger and younger over the years. You might hear my little baby in the background. He's
Yeah.
toddling around right now. So
Yeah. Darling. Okay. Susanna, where did you grow up? Oh,
mm.
come on,
Come here.
bring them up.
Come see.
Let's.
You
Oh
say hi,
my.
Sherry. Hi, Sherry.
Oh my
He's
God.
the cutest.
Yes. Darling. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, where did I grow up? Well, I grew up on a blueberry farm in Georgia, in the countryside right outside of Atlanta. Yes, I did. And it was very beautiful. I mean, it was a really beautiful upbringing. Um, and also just like, so many children, I, kind of got hit in the face with our culture in all the ways. And so I took refuge in nature. I spent a lot of time with Mother Earth and with the trees and with the animals. And sometimes I like to say I was raised by dogs.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
to this day, nature, in particular, the water is my, yeah, just
Your medicine, right? Water, Sherry, that's so interesting. Water as an element. Growing up, I think my element was more earth. I'm a Virgo sun. I was very like earthy, rocks and trees and things. But recently, water has come into my life. And I just recently had this new understanding of the intelligence of water, like how incredibly intelligent it is as a substance, as a species, even, and how cleansing it is. Yeah.
Yes. Now, a lot of people won't understand that water does have a high level of intellect and
Yes.
memory. Do you want to talk a little bit about that sharing what you know, and
Mm,
then
yeah.
we'll go on.
And then we'll keep going. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, what there's some really excellent articles or research studies. And I'm forgetting his name right now, but there was a scientist who did a lot of studies around water. And he uh, he basically showed that water not only has memory, but it reacts to the energy of a space, of whatever frequency you put into it. So he essentially played music or sounds into water, and then he took photos of the microscopic cellular formations that the water made, and no, and depending upon which frequency, which music was played, or which sounds, or even, and he even tied it to emotions like anger and sadness,
yeah,
and what you spoke into the water changed the cellular formation of the water. And of course, we know that you and I are made of, like, I think it's like more than 90% water, right? Our
yeah,
bodies.
yeah,
Yeah. So what we speak to each other, like the energy and the emotion of what we speak to each other, it matters because it changes the cellular makeup of the water in our body. Yeah.
yeah. Bây giờ như vậy finally said, oh, just and the teeny bit I know on this topic. There was also another male scientist, a
Mhm.
modern day, who I cannot remember his name either, did a similar test on water, but then took the water, or a little bit of it, and froze it. Oh,
Mm.
I know what he did. Like he would put his foot down into the water.
Mhm.
And then that area of water he would collect and freeze. Well, once in solid form, his footprint was identical. He could take his physical foot and
Wow.
put it right down into
Wow.
that ice.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
they
incredible.
yeah, likewise with what you said. I also love that you brought that back to being about us
Mhm. Mhm.
humans and the importance of kindness, awareness, awesome. Now, how did you decide to take the military route? And
Mm.
you go in out of the highest school or
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a great question. Uh, because, interesting what are I'm thinking about how water um informs us, like whatever we're made of, right? Whatever we're born into, and even the family lineage that we're born into impacts the frequency of the water in our body, and then it changes the way that we act.
Yeah.
And so I was born into a family that had a significant amount of um military influence in it. So all of the men in my family had been in the military. My father was in the Marine Corps. Most had not been for a lifetime. They had, done 4 or 5 years, and then that was it. But almost all of them had served in some way for a period of time. And so my father was a big advocate for the military, for the Marine Corps especially, because he felt
Yeah.
like the Marine Corps prepared him in such a way that he was able to navigate this life in a more with more strength. And so I decided when I was actually 4 years old when I first decided I would go into the military, because I watched my much older brother graduate from boot camp. Yeah. And then I was 12 when I discovered the Naval Academy. And the Naval Academy was that then became a dream. And so all of that, like all of the, the cells in my body, all of the water memory
Yeah.
of my family lineage was guiding me toward this path. And so I decided to go to the Naval Academy. And at the Naval Academy, they basically um, you join, and then are you graduate from college, and then you go into the military from there. And so
Okay.
so that is, and you become an officer. So I graduated as an officer in the Marine Corps, and then I went pretty quickly to Afghanistan right after that.
Wow.
Yes.
And you did two words.
Hmm.
Combat. What area of combat
Hmm.
were you?
So when I graduated, and the way that it works is they, in the officer corps, you get what they tell you. You don't,
Yeah,
it's not so much of a choice. Yeah, not as
okay.
much of a choice, although that you're going to be managing people. You know that you're
Yeah,
going to be um what we say leading troops, right? You'll
yeah,
be a manager of sorts.
yeah.
So I chose I put my preferences in, and what I ultimately got was an air defense control, which is where we are controlling all of the aircraft above a certain altitude, 16,000 feet outside of the airfield. It's similar to air traffic control, but we're not
Yeah.
doing like takeoffs and landings. It's like once they're up in the air, we control the battle space in the air, it's a little high pressure and quite a bit of
Yeah. You
not a
are
multitasking.
definitely
Hmm.
simplifying and downplaying. You did that your entire career.
I did that. So I was in for 5 years and the Naval Academy for 4, so about 9 years of military training and service.
Uh-huh.
And I did that job, I would say, for about the first 2 years.
Mhm.
And then I went into more of a staff role where I did some other jobs. A lot of them were closer to like operations. And then I was helping to plan out the airspace and manage people, like making sure that, those controllers had all the resources they need to do what they were doing.
Yeah.
Um, but I did that first job for about 2 years, and that was my specialty. But one of the jobs that I did a lot of was I was a victim advocate for survivors of sexual assault. And in the military, that's considered to be like what we call a collateral duty. It's like a second duty. It's not officially your job, but
Wow.
because that period of time, there was a lot of sexual assault and there was a lot of harassment and a lot of issues between men and women. I mean, I think there have been in the military. They were just
Yeah.
noticing them at that
Yeah.
time. It
Yeah.
was coming out more. And there were lots of investigations from kind of the top down, trying to understand why there are so many reports. I got very busy in that job. And so I spent a lot of time being a counselor to people and doing a lot of training around stopping sexual assault and um,
Yes.
and realized what a problem it was and the disconnect between men and women in this
Mm.
force, which is huge. I mean, in the military, it's the most obvious example of our imbalance of
Mhm.
masculine and feminine, I
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
say. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now, what year did that begin? What year
Yeah.
did?
Yes. I graduated from the Naval Academy in 2011.
Mhm.
And it's interesting that you ask this because the year is important, I believe, in my spiritual work.
Oh,
I believe that a lot of our big awakenings that are happening now
mhm.
began in 2012.
Yeah.
Actually, I know that's when they began. That's why there was, such a big discussion around the year 2012 and the end of the world and things like that, sort of
Yeah.
like the beginning, maybe the beginning of the end. And so 2012 was when I took my first deployment. It's when I graduated training, a training called the basic school, and then I went to Afghanistan for the first time. So it was definitely like it started to crack my reality and my understanding of what was real and what was possible and what was here on this earth, because I up until that point I don't think I fully understood what war was.
Well, I don't know that any of us truly
Hmm.
g- get it until you're in it. I just, how
Amen.
can I, never having been in that type of war,
Hmm.
understand all of that?
Hmm.
Now, what capacity were you working with that when you were doing the air control?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, okay,
Yeah. So the first deployment, I was controlling a team of
yeah,
individuals on that we were on the ground in Afghanistan in what's called Helmand province, which was basically where most of the fighting was. And we then, and there we were controlling most of the airspace over the battlefield. So about 23,000 square miles of airspace, which would have, 100 or 150 aircraft up at any given time.
Yeah.
And we were making sure that they didn't hit each other, and they were,
Yeah.
dropping bombs and doing different things. So you don't want anybody to, everybody's going 400, 500 miles an hour,
Yeah.
so it's like, being a traffic cop on crack. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
another level,
Yeah.
So that was the first
Wow.
deployment. And then when I came back the following year, I was in like a higher echelon where I was operating as where I was on staff, and I was basically then helping to um, ensure that the airspace was planned properly. So we had proper planning, and we were working on trying to pass it over to the Afghan
Mm.
people and the Afghan army,
Yeah.
which I don't think was such a success, because
No.
they had never controlled airspace before. That was like a whole new concept for them.
Yeah.
So it was I think it was a losing battle from the very beginning. It was not
Yeah.
something
Mm.
that made sense, because we had these two cultures that were so far away from each other.
Yeah.
In many ways, the Afghan culture is about 1,000 years in the past. So you have
Mm-hmm.
this like future culture coming in, trying to teach them these
Mm.
technologies, but it's not, and it's not
Yeah.
because there's any, it's not stupidity, it's
No.
not lack of
Right.
intelligence. They're highly intelligent people. They're just in a
Yeah.
different era of
Yeah.
existence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow. Okay. Now, will you share the year and circumstance of your spiritual awakening? I am picking up on what you've said, that this entire journey was building on top of one another until whatever this cataclysmic event occurred. Is that true?
Absolutely. I mean, just like so many of us, our stories are perfectly designed, right? To each
Yeah,
step brings us closer to
yeah,
the essence of who we are. And it's
yeah,
just this process of remembering and awakening and taking all the masks off. And um,
yeah.
there were little moments, I would say, that led to some big moments. And
Okay.
the first little moment was being in Afghanistan, um, and seeing us targeting a man on a motorbike. This is, one of the examples of when my reality started to crumble. All of the things that I thought the military was doing, all of the things that I thought, America was doing and was, in the good guy. We were targeting this young man on a motorbike, and because he had buried a bomb basically under the ground, and that
Mhm.
was designed to harm our troops. And
Yeah,
so at that point, he became the enemy. And so
yeah,
we follow him with a UAV, and what ends up happening is we drop the bomb, right? And when we drop it, it it actually, he doesn't he doesn't die. He gets away. Like we see him run away. And when they dropped it, our whole team cheered, like, oh, great, we got him. And I thought to myself, why are we cheering for death? Why are we cheering for someone dying? This doesn't make sense. And then when he got away, I was like silently in myself, like, oh, thank heavens, thank goodness. And come here, little man. And so, hello, yes, I know, I see you. And so what happened then was that things started to break down in my understanding, and I started to lose faith a little bit in why we were there. And I didn't understand, what we were doing and whether war really worked. And when I ended up getting out of the military, I came up to San Francisco and began to work in the tech industry. And I began to explore with things like psychedelics and other plant medicines that gave me some powerful, like you said, some cataclysmic moments of awakening, where I got to see more of who I was, and I got to have more direct relationship with God. And it caused me to believe in peace in a new way, right? But it took a while. And I have a few of those moments that that I could share. But yes, that was the general trend, was like my reality started to crack, and then I had a little more. Mm-hmm.
Love that.
Yeah.
Kriget barn going. So you now connect with the God. You feel their peace, and you're understanding of war is directly changing. I know for me, and I'm sure others too, that when the moment comes, that you connect with God or the divine, you step into that love energy, and you begin looking at everything from that perspective. It's like really remarkable, and a game changer. Please keep on sharing what unfolded from there.
Oh, my whole life fell apart in a good way,
Okay.
I think all of the things that I had built on war mentality, right? Because I had been attuned, and I was literally, like, going back to our original conversation around water, the water in my body, the cells in my body had been attuned for and conflict and fighting and proving myself, right? There was all that worry. And while I've come full circle, I deeply believe in a lot of the skill sets that we learn in the military. Your mentality, there's discipline, there's devotion, there's like a very strong commitment to what you believe in,
Yeah.
and powerful skills and talents. But what I realized was that I needed to use all of that for that peace and love, and insist to love, unconditional love. And in order to embody unconditional love on this planet, you've got to be devoted, be
Yes.
disciplined, and you've got to like wake up every day and go back to that connection with unconditional love, because so much of what's around us is
Nah.
our mentality. It's existing
Yeah.
in conflict. So so ultimately what I did was I went through my spiritual awakening. I had an experience with one plant medicine where I was meditating on the top of a hill, and had a whole like tornado sort of vortex of that energy come through my body, and I dissolved and got what I can only describe as God. The voice of God spoke to me and said, "You are a healer. Go do healing work, Susannah.
Yeah.
Stop doing all these things in the tech industry, because that's still existing in war mentality." And I think that was now about 7 years ago. So it's
Okay.
taken me 7 years to really integrate that learning. And where that led me was to become a mother. I had a baby last year, and he's just about 1 year old. He'll be 1 in 2 weeks. And that was a huge initiation of coming into peace and unconditional love, because of course with children you must love unconditionally, no matter what they're doing
Yes.
or how they're acting.
Yes.
And so that was an attunement. And then I realized that a lot of my relationships were built in war and conflict and wanting. Most of us have childhood trauma that we bring into our relationships, and then we play
Yes.
those out. We like project those onto the other person. So I've been clearing out those things in my own life, and all of that has been aided by the practice of being a healer. Like being a healer is really me healing myself in the presence of other people, and helping other people along the way
Yeah.
too, as I heal.
Yes.
But my process of healing has led to other people's healing, and their healing has led to mine. And that's we often say that at Metamorphosis is your healing is my healing, is our healing. And the more that we recognize our shared connection to God, unconditional love, peace, the more we can heal together.
Yes. Absolutely. Beautifully said. Okay, I cannot believe time is almost up. I am bummed. Okay, what are some words of insight, enlightenment, or wisdom that you would like to further impart on people who are going to hear this?
Something that I say a lot is to trust your inner voice, your intuition, which really I'm learning more and more. The intuition is the voice of the heart. And at Metamorphosis, we believe in activating all three minds, which are the gut mind, the heart mind, and the brain mind. And so many of us are focused on the brain mind, right? We get stuck in here because that's where a lot of the words are.
Yeah.
And we consume things through our eyes and through our ears. So much happens up here in our head. But when you trust that little inner voice that comes from deep within your heart, the magic that unfolds in your life is unlike anything else. And that is heart intelligence. That's what that is. And truly the heart, and in Buddhism and other faiths, and I would say even in Christ consciousness, the heart intelligence is the authority of the entire system. It's way more wise than the brain, right? It has so much more capacity. So trust your heart, trust your intuition. And a lot of times that's going to lead you, actually, I'll say every time it's going to lead you on the road less traveled, as they say, the path that a lot of people don't take. And it will be weird, and you will maybe be seen as strange, and maybe you will be lonely for periods of time. But trust it, because that is what you're here to do. You're here to trust your heart intelligence. You're here to wake up to the truth of who you are. And the only way to do that is by listening to your heart.
Well, sad. I don't like to wait to what they are in yes. Constant manifestation from the divine. They are we must all get to that place of thinking, being, and being love. And that is what you said. I merely said it in a different way. It is true that love makes the world go round, and we've never needed love more than now.
Amen.
Susannah, thank you, girl. You are amazing. Thank you for everything you've done and are doing. Keep on shining bright. It is and has been and absolute pleasure talking with you. People who hear you are going to love you. I do, girl. I do. Yeah,
Same, Sherry.
yeah.
Same.
Okay. Thank you. Take
Thank you
care.
so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Transcending Trauma, the Spiritual Odyssey. If you're working to overcome trauma and would like to work with me or be a guest on my show, contact me through my website at shariroberts.org. Please hit the follow button to make sure you don't miss any episodes. I'd love to connect with you on LinkedIn at Shari Roberts. You can find all the links in the show notes. I'd love to hear from you. I'm Shari Roberts, your host, reminding you that you're never alone. Until next time, sending you love and light.